Good morning, class. Today we are going to discuss about the plant kingdom in detail. Now, the plant kingdom is broadly classified into cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams, they are non-flowering plants, and phanerogams, they are flowering plants. So these are the non-flowering and these are the flowering plants. Now, the cryptogams are again divisible into three divisions. They are halophyta, bryophyta and pteridophyta. That is, these are the divisions: halophyta, bryophyta and pteridophyta. Halophyta is again subdivisible into groups algae and fungi. And phanerogams, they are again divisible into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms, they have naked seeds, and angiosperms, they are having seed coat. Now, angiosperms are again divisible into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. So this is just a ray diagram of the plant kingdom. Now, what are the salient features of a plant kingdom? Which organisms? Biology is broadly classified into study of plants and study of animals. Study of plants come under botany, study of animals comes under zoology. Now, what characteristics will make an organism to get into a plant kingdom? So let us know what are the salient features of the plant kingdom. First and foremostly, plants are autotrophic in nature. That means they need to have chlorophyll so as to produce their own food material by a process called photosynthesis. So first and foremostly, plant kingdom, these are mainly found in soil, some may be found in water also, and these are multicellular, and the cell is surrounded by a cell wall which is made up of cellulose. Plant cells, they contain plastids. Plastids are of three types: chloroplast, leucoplast and chromoplast. So chloroplasts are the one which are responsible for photosynthesis, which help in photosynthesis. Then next is their cell structure is eukaryotic. That means they have a true nucleus with a nuclear membrane surrounding it. And some plants are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means like cuscuta. It is a parasitic plant which derives its food and shelter from other plants. So it is a total parasite because it depends on both food and shelter. So they are heterotrophic in nutrition. Otherwise, most of the plants, they are autotrophic in nutrition, and food is stored in the plants in the form of starch. And reproduction can be through asexual, sexual and vegetative means. Now, classification of plant kingdom, as I told you, the plant kingdom is broadly classified into flowering and non-flowering. Non-flowering are cryptogams, flowering are phanerogams, and the non-flowering plants, they are again divisible into halophyta, bryophyta and pteridophyta. Now, let us study about, now these halophytes, they are again classified into algae and fungi. Halophyta includes both algae and fungi because they have a structure which is called as thallus. Now, characteristics of algae. Now, what are the characteristics of algae? Algae, the plant is in the form of a thallus, that is flattened structure like a thalloid, and it has, which is not divisible into stem, root and leaves. And chlorophyll is found in the body cells which can manufacture their own food material, and hence they are autotrophs. Plant body does not contain any vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem are not present, and these are mainly hydrophytes. They live in water, and the cell wall is made up of cellulose, and in their life cycle they have sexual, asexual and vegetative mode of reproduction. Now, after sexual reproduction, zygote is formed, but it does not give rise to embryo. That means in sexual reproduction, fusion of male and female cells fuse, zygote is formed but embryo is not developed. Then in most of the algae, alteration of generation, that is gametogenesis followed by spermatogenesis is seen. Sporophytic. Gametophytic phase is dominant and sporophytic phase is limited, because limited up to only zygote formation. Then algae possesses unicellular reproductive organs and the reserve food material is in the form of starch. Now morphology of algae can be unicellular, they can be colonial, filamentous branched, then siphonaceous and advanced thallus. Unicellular, the algae may contain only one cell. Colonial, it can be in the form of a colony. Filamentous, it can be in the form of a ladder, filamentous. Now filamentous can be in the form of branched also. Like filamentous unbranched is Eulothrix, whereas Udogonium and Eulothrix, and filamentous branched is found in Ectocarpus. Now siphonaceous means the algae grows vertically upwards but they lack partition walls. They don't have any partition. Then in advanced thallus, this type, the body is mainly filamentous, but the filaments are interwoven with each other. So it is very complex, and that's why it is called as advanced thallus. Reproduction is by vegetative, asexual and sexual. Under vegetative, fragmentation, that is if you cut the algae into small parts, then each part will behave as an individual plant body. Then bulbils is an outgrowth which comes out of the thallus, and that outgrowth, if you cut it and sow it in soil under favorable conditions, it will develop into a whole organism. And then you have asexual reproduction. It is in the form of zoospores, aplanospores, endospores, hypnospores, autospores, echinites, cyst and pamela stages. That is, in one particular algal structure, you will find small spore-like structures, small dotted spore-like structures which are very unicellular, microscopic, you cannot see them, and when they are released during favorable condition, then you will find that these spores can lead an individual life. Then in sexual reproduction, it is isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. Now what do you mean by isogamous? Isogamous means here the fusing sex cells or gametes are morphologically similar but functionally they are different. So morphologically they are similar sex cells but functionally they are different. In anisogamous, the sex cells are different from each other morphologically and also functionally. And in oogamous, the two sex gametes are different from each other in all the respects. Then that is called as oogamous. Now, classification of algae. Algae can be classified as chlorophyta, phaeophyta and rhodophyta. Now, algae you need to learn in detail. You have to learn the characteristics of chlorophyta, phaeophyta and rhodophyta. So, this algae is classified into three types: chloro, pheo and rhodo. Now, chlorophyta, by the name itself suggests that they are green algae and they contain chlorophyll in it, and the outer cell wall is made up of cellulose, and they are autotrophic because they contain the green pigment chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, beta carotenes and xanthocins are present. The color is green due to the predominance of chlorophyll, and chloroplast contain one or more proteinaceous bodies which are called as pyrenoids. Then the reserve food material will be starch. Reproduction is vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative reproduction takes place by self-division, that is fragmentation, fusion, echinite. Sexual reproduction is through zoospores, aplanospores and hypnospores, just learn the names. And sexual reproduction ranges from isogamy to oogamy. Then alteration of generation, that means generation to generation, you can see them, alteration of generation is seen. Then economic importance of green algae, they are very nutritious, They are rich in protein and carbohydrates, and some of them can be consumed as food materials, and they are also they can be consumed as food materials like chlorella, cara. Then Phaeophyta, they are brown algae and they are usually marine, and the body is consisting of filamentous type, and they are the largest algae. Body is divisible into holdfast. Holdfast means the separate which is attached to the substratum. Holdfast can be said to be just like a foot. And stipes and lamina. Lamina is a blade-like structure. The leaf is having a lamina, similarly a blade-like flat structure which is called as a lamina. Now, they contain brown pigment xanthophyll. Xanthophyll is predominant, and fucoxanthin they are predominant. Apart from that, they are having chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotenes. They are highly evolved form as plants, and the pigments are found in specialized structures which are called as chromatophores. The cells are uninucleate in nature. The cell wall is made up of two layers, inner cellulosic and outer gelatinous. Inner wall is cellulosic of the cell wall, and the outer layer of the cell wall is gelatinous. Fucosal vesicles are present, and it reproduces by again the same way, asexual, sexual, vegetative. Reserve food material here is in the form of mannitol, laminarin and lipids, fat droplet. Then vegetative reproduction takes place by motile and non-motile zoospores. Now sexual reproduction is isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous, all the types. Then you see alteration of generation can be seen in this also, and one or two examples like fucus. In chlorophyta we have seen the example chlorella and cara. In Phaeophyta we will see the example fucus. Now the next one is rhodophyta, which is called as red algae. Rhodo means red color. Now it contains a red pigment, porphyrin. Sorry, they are the red algae form an ancient group. They are non-flagellate. They are predominantly marine. They are unicellular, cell wall possessive, cellulose and pectin, and they are red in color due to the presence of phycobilins. Sorry. They are red in color due to the presence of phycobilin, and they do not have any motile status. There is no movement in this algae. Sexual reproduction takes place by oogamous type, and alteration of generation is not seen in this cycle. Example of rhodophyta is you can porphyra. Learn only one name, that is porphyra. Then bryophyta. What are bryophytes? In the figure itself you can see that they are thallus, they are broad. Halophyte means they will have thallus-like structure. Now they are also non-flowering. Bryophytes are land dwellers. They are present only on land. They are bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally means you can cut the body into two equal halves longitudinally. That is bilateral symmetry. They have rhizoids on the ventral part. Rhizoid are primitive root-like structures. And bryophytes are non-vascular plants. They don't have xylem and phloem. The plant body is very, very simple and thallus-like, and there is complete absence of roots, leaves and stem. And gametophyte is the dominant phase in the life cycle. Reproduction is through reproductive organs, antheridium and archegonium. In bryophyta you will have the reproductive organs, antheridia in male, archegonium in female, and fertilization takes place in the presence of water, and fertilization takes place inside the archegonium. Inside the female body only you will have fertilization done. Alteration of generation is seen. Example, Rixia, Markensia. Learn the names Rixia and Markensia for bryophyta. Then next is Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta are pteridophytes are those organisms which are the plant body is sporophytic. That is, it is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. In gametophytic condition, root, stem and leaves is not differentiated, but in sporophytic condition, the plant body is divisible into root, stem and leaves, and the dominant phase will be sporophytic phase, and here they are vascular plants. That means they contain xylem and phloem. Xylem lacks xylem vessels and phloem lacks companion cells. Actually, xylem has 4 types of cells, in which this particular Pteridophyta lacks xylem vessels and phloem lacks companion cells, and spores are produced in special structures called sporangium. So in pteridophytes you see that spores are produced in a special type of structure which is called as sporangium, and here also male sex organ is called as antheridium and female sex organ is called as archegonium, and there is also alternation of generation seen in pteridophytes. Now, and pteridophytes are basically called as jacket. They have jackets on their structures. Protective shield is present in the pteridophytes. That has to be remembered. Then next is phanerogams. They are the flowering plants. Now phanerogams can be distinguished into 2 divisions: gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms are the plants with naked seeds and angiosperms are with seed coat. And angiosperms are further divided into monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Now, gymnosperms, naked seeded plants. Characteristics: plants are perennial, they live for many years. They are woody trees and they are vascular, naked seed plants. Plants are sporophytic, which are divisible into root, stem and leaf, and vascular bundle is present, xylem and phloem. Xylem is devoid of xylem vessels, phloem is devoid of companion cells. Devoid means lacking. Reproductive parts born in the gymnosperms are called as cones. Reproductive parts are called as cones or strobili. Like in Pteridophyta, it is called as sporangium, whereas in gymnosperms, it is called as cones or strobili. Male cone and female cones are different. Male cones will have microsporophylls and female cone will contain megasporophylls. And pollination is anemophilous. Pollination takes place, transfer of pollen grains, and pollination takes place by means of anemophilous, that is wind pollination. And secondary growth is also present, and you see that usually polyembryony is found in seed. Polyembryony means the embryo is in various forms. Poly means multi. So in multiple forms you will get the embryo. And Archegonia lack neck canal cells. Archegonia does not have any neck. Embryo bears 2 or more cotyledons. Example is Cycas pinus. Pine tree, cycas tree, they are the examples of gymnosperms. Angiosperms. Angiosperms are the flowering plants and they are containing seed coat. The seed is covered by a seed coat, protective seed coat. Plant body is divisible into root, stem and leaves, and plant body is sporophytic, and reproductive organs are in the form of flower, that is the flower has the complete structure, corolla, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium you will find in the flower. And haploid stage, haploid is a gametophytic stage. Haploid means when they will have only n number of chromosomes, half the number of chromosomes. Seeds are covered with ovary and process of double fertilization takes place here. The ovary ripens to form the fruit and the fruit is containing the seed. And vascular system is well developed. Xylem is with all the 4 types of structures, that is xylem vessels, xylem fibers, xylem parenchyma and tracheids. Phloem also contains all the 4 types of cells, that is seed tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fiber. And they may be parasitic or they may be insectivorous. Parasitic means depending on others for food, and they are well adapted to their environment. Now angiosperms are again divisible into monocots and dicots. Monocots are the seeds with only 1 cotyledon. Dicots are the one which has 2 cotyledons. So you have to just go through the characteristics of monocots and dicots. Now system. Dicots will have direct taproot system. Monocots will have adventitious root system. Dicots will have dorsiventral leaves like mango leaf, and monocots will have isobilateral leaf just like the banana leaf. Example is banana leaf. Then leaves are reticulate venation. In mango you will find reticulate zigzag pattern of veins on the leaf, whereas in monocots you will have parallel venation. You will see only parallel lines on the banana leaf. Those are the veins. Flowers are tetramerous or pentamerous. Tetramerous means four petals will be there, or penta. Then seeds are with dicotyledonous seeds. That means on sowing they will give rise to 2 cotyledons. Monocots will give rise to only 1 cotyledon. Vascular bundle in dicot is arranged in the form of a ring, whereas in monocot it is scattered. Secondary growth is present in dicots, whereas in monocot secondary growth is absent and vascular bundle is open in dicots. In monocot vascular bundles are closed. Here example of dicot is mango and example of monocot is banana. And you need to also learn about the lifespan, that diversity of plants on the basis of span of life. That means annuals which live only for 1 year, biennials which live for 2 years, perennials which live for many years. Basis of the habit: herbs, soft stems; shrub, woody and bushy stems; and trees, they have very woody and strong stems. Then on the basis of habitat means where they are living: hydrophytes living in water, xerophytes living in very dry desert area, mesophyte moderate condition where there is water also and dryness also, it's moderate condition, and epiphytes which grows on other trees. The plants which grow on other trees, they are called epiphytes, and halophytes are which grow in saline soil, salty soil. Halophytes are those which grow in salty soils. And on the basis of nutrition: autotrophic which can perform photosynthesis, heterotrophic which depend on others for their food, either being parasites. Then you have saprophytic which live on dead and decaying organic matter, and symbiotic which live in close association with each other. That means they are in contact with other plant through which they can take mutually they are helpful to each other. Like one will provide nourishment, the other will provide shelter. So in this way both are benefiting from each other. Then that type of association is called as symbiotic association. And there are also plants which are insectivorous. Insectivorous means the plants which derive nutrition from insects. They trap the insect in their body and they digest it by secreting digestive juices on it, and they draw nourishment from the insects. So this was all, and learn the fundamental concepts, learn the definitions, the objective types which are solved at the back side of the textbook, and also try to make the short answer questions and long answer questions, solve it by yourself.